last video, we showed you some of the fun things that we did in Porto. Well, today we crossed the bridge to Villanova de Gaia and are going to show you even more fun things to do. So stay with us as we continue to explore the beautiful city of Porto.
She turned the world upside and down, and I don't feel like I want to wear the crown. And
On this trip, we decided to splurge and take the Teleférico de Gaia from Jardin de Moro in order to view, from a different perspective, this beautiful city. It's pretty spendy, costing €7 one-way and €10 round-trip. We chose one-way but should have chosen round-trip since we were watching the time and ended up racing back up to the Marado to watch the sunset. As we descended down to the Caixa de Gaia at the west end of the promenade, we could take in the view of Old Porto, the Luís I Bridge, the Douro River, and Via Nova de Gaia.
We're here in Villanova de Gaia, and we read about this place, the fantastic world of Portuguese can. No, it's not just about the cans, it's about the sardines, but we heard it's a really fun place to take a lot of pics, so we're gonna go inside and have some fun. The fantastic world of Portuguese can opened in 2022 on the promenade in Villanova de Gaia. It presents a unique experience into the fascinating world of Portuguese canned fish. As you enter, you are immersed in a vibrant, whimsical environment filled with music, color, and light. There are over 30 different varieties of canned fish to suit tastes from around the world. There are so many colorful and unique backdrops that makes for an Instagram paradise, including a beautiful symmetrical stairway that leads to the upper floor. At the top of the stairs leads into a circus tent, then opening into an area that gives an impression of a canning factory. On the walls, there are 6 women holding baskets with the flags of the world and 2 fishermen carrying Portuguese gold from the sea.
Hungry and looking for a casual dinner, we went to explore the historic Mercado da Beira-Rio. The original building, which for the most part still stands today, was built in 1904 and at the time was a famous fish market. In 1937, the market expanded to include fruit and vegetable stalls. On September 13, 2017, the Mercado opened its doors with a renovated concept combining the traditional market with contemporary and classic offerings such as Brunch Forever, Herbalina, and De Gama. We ended up trying Superbock Experience, a beer tasting flight of their premium artisanal beers, and ordering a pizza from Mama and Papa Pizzeria.
Having enjoyed the cerveja and pizza, we had lost track of time and made our way back to Jardin de Moro and then to the Miradouro Serra do Pilar to enjoy the sunset's warm glow over the city.
The next morning, we decided to try the Delta Coffee Experience. In 1961, Rui Nabairo decided to create his own brand of coffee in a small warehouse in the Alentejo with 2 small roasters. The Delta Coffee Experience is adjacent to Mantaegra, one of our favorite makers of pastéis de natas. The space is contemporary with a coffee roaster drawing your attention as you approach the counter to order. There are shelves with various coffee products for sale and display and a spacious dining area to enjoy your coffee. We ordered the scrambled eggs, which came with sautéed spinach and mushrooms and some toast. We also splurged on single origin pour-over coffees, our first to try in Portugal.
So I'm having the Colombia pour-over coffee. I'm getting some nice bitterness, medium body, and I like some acidity in my coffee. The perfect cup.
And I had a Chemex pour over too. This is a single variety from Peru, and I really like it. It has some cinnamon notes without having added any cinnamon. The World of Wine is a relatively new cultural district which opened in 2020. The complex is comprised of 7 museum experiences, an accredited wine school, 9 restaurants and bars. This district also has space for temporary art exhibitions and runs a vibrant selection of cultural and music events throughout the year. The new cultural district was the result of the redevelopment of a substantial area previously occupied by old port lodges in Villanova de Gaia. The idea was conceived by the Faladgate partnership, who invested significantly into the project. We found the most enjoyable parts of the museums were the interactive exhibits and displays. They were the most interesting and fun, while at the same time educational. Some of our favorites in the wine experience included the What Grape Are You exhibit. On a touchscreen, you take a short quiz pertaining to your taste preferences, and at the end, you're provided with what type of wine you most likely will prefer. The walls of the exhibit have a number of fun paintings depicting each of the grape varieties. Also a favorite is the What is Your Wine Style exhibit, where similarly, you take a short quiz pertaining to your food preferences, such as your go-to main dish and your go-to dessert, and at the end, you're provided with your wine style. And finally, the aromas experience. We're provided are a dozen different aromas for you to smell and try to identify what the aroma is. Next to each aroma flask, you press a button which releases an aroma, and next to the flask is a small display that lights up with the answer. Some of our favorites in the Planet Cork experience include the Resilience of Cork, where you use a lever to squish the cork and you can see it spring back to its original volume. You can also see how many cork stoppers do you weigh by standing on the scale, and the display tells you how many wine corker stoppers and how many sparkling wine stoppers you weigh. There is a mock-up of the anatomy of a full-size cork tree where you can see and feel the cork bark on the tree. There's a selfie spot where you can take a pic in the middle of a cork forest. And finally, we had so much fun messing around on the fashion runway. It was so much fun that we did a couple go-arounds and pretended that we're models coming down the runway. Aloha! We're here at the World of Wine and we're really excited to try out the Pink Palace experience. We read a lot about it and it looks like it's going to be a fun experience. So let's go inside and play.
The Pink Palace is one of our favorite of the 3 museum experiences we tried at the World of Wine. It is a really fun experience that immerses visitors in the vibrant world of rosé wine, shattering a series of myths about this style of wine in an engaging, attractive, and memorable way. When you enter, you are given a souvenir plastic rosé glass and a Pink Palace wristband with 5 buttons. Throughout the experience, you will exchange a button in various rooms to taste the next style of rosé wine. As you pass through each room, there are many colorful displays and backdrops that beckon you to be part of the experience. Diving into a pool of pink balls or getting into a big pink Cadillac, Hollywood style, everything is possible inside the Pink Palace.
Having worked up an appetite, we had a late lunch at Ruud Vine, which hosts Subenshi, one of the most recognized sushi restaurant brands in the region. Terry went with the benshi menu composed of a harmonious combination of premium fusion sushi pieces and sashimi, and Lopaka and our daughter went with the kaishi menu, preferring a more traditional interpretation. The presentation was spectacular, but rather humorous when hot water was poured into the tokuri, or sake flask, to create a dramatic cold vapor effect.
Afterwards, we wandered over to the Taylor Faladgate Courthouse, which is part of the World of Wine Cultural District. We decided to take a self-tour, and for €20 you get the audio guide handset and a voucher for a port wine tasting flight at the end of the tour. At the entrance, you are met with a pair of lions that are part of the Taylor logo and enter into the foyer where you buy your ticket and begin the self-tour. The tour begins with pictures and mementos of the Taylor Faladgate history, showcasing a large 3D relief map that shows the significant regions of the Douro Valley and the locations of the 3 iconic Taylor quintas. Next, as you enter into the barrel storage house, you are greeted with the rich aroma of port wine and the wood barrels in which the port is aged. Established over 3 centuries ago in 1692, Taylor Faladgate is one of the oldest of the founding port houses. It is dedicated entirely to the production of port wine, and in particular to its finest styles. The self-tour leads you directly to the largest barrel of port wine in the Taylor Faladgate inventory. There is a station set up to take a selfie in front of the barrel and have it emailed to you. Other than the in-depth history of Taylor Faladgate, told through a variety of displays in the rooms at the rear of the barrel storage area, we found the tour anticlimactic, having played in the Pink Palace earlier.
After tasting our Taylor port wine flight, we headed back to the Sedofaita neighborhood to see the Lello Bookstore, where we used a tip from our tour guide and got in line with a late-in-the-day time slot that had just started moving. For us, this was the 5:30 p.m. slot, and while the line moved along, we hurriedly went online and bought our tickets and was able to show our tickets on our phone when we got up to the entrance, spending a whole 15 minutes in line. Although much of the popularity of the bookstore was driven by the belief that J.K. Rowling was inspired by the bookstore for some of the ideas found in the incredibly popular Harry Potter book series, she has declared that when she lived in Porto, she did not know about the existence of the bookstore. However, she does recognize that the bookstore is very pretty and wishes that she had visited it. Since it is known as the most beautiful bookstore in the world, we wanted to see the inside of the bookstore in person and to hopefully come away with a memento of our visit. We marveled at the architecture of the symmetrical staircase and the richness of the bookshelf trim and railings. The stained glass skylight also was a beautiful focal point that was hard to miss. Finally, it was fun to look through the books and try to determine what we would like for a memento of our visit. Terry chose Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, and Lopaka chose The Wizard of Oz, both books in Portuguese. We thought it was a really good value since they discounted the price of our books by the price of our tickets.
Having lived in Portugal for 9 months now, we were beginning to miss the variety of eats that could be found within a 30-minute radius of where we lived in Southern California. So we were excited to have a reservation at Mistu when they opened their doors at 7 p.m. and were quickly seated at a window corner table. All of the food offerings are small plates meant to be shared, and our waiter recommended 4 to 5 plates for our party of 3. The presentation and flavors of the plates we ordered were works of art with influences from Asia, South America, and a sprinkling of Portuguese. Normally we pass on the couvert, but this one was a keeper. It was comprised of falafel combining chickpea with a chicken pate and served with baba ganoush and crostini, the best falafel we had ever tasted. For cocktails, Lopaka and our daughter tried the Mistu signature cocktail using vodka, lime, maracuja, and cointreau. Terry went with the classic cosmopolitan, both simply vibrant in color and presentation. We also tried a green light cocktail with kiwi, masa verde, and hortela. Staff brought out our shared plates, one by one, with just enough time to savor and discuss what we liked about each dish. This first was the seared butterfish with foie gras, wakame, and ponzu sauce, which was so dangerously tasty we had to hold ourselves back from ordering another. This was followed by the snow crab causa and the soft-shell crab tempura. We found the textures to be complementary, but somewhat challenging to share with our party of 3. The staff then served us the artichoke lasagna with portobello, dried tomato, and basil pesto, which took lasagna to a whole new level. This too left us wanting for more. Our last plate was the lamb chops, Korean barbecue, peas, and sheep's cheese aligot, invoking creative spins on Korean barbecue fried chicken and silky cheesy mashed potatoes. We capped this luscious meal off with the lime mousse, white and ruby chocolate, crumble and pistachio ice cream sobremesa, and a round of cafe duplas. We definitely will come again the next time we visit Porto.
The next morning, wanting something different than the typical Portuguese breakfast, we came across a fantastic find called the Dunor Cafe by Hungry Biker. We got there 10 minutes after they opened and there was still room for us to get seated straight away. This is definitely the place to come if you have an appetite and are looking for something different. The motif of the cafe evoked a sense of the Canadian Rockies with snowshoes and cross-country skis. They had nice coffee drinks on the menu, and we ordered the homemade salty waffles with San Miguel DOP cheese and spinach topped with smoked salmon, pink hummus, and sesame. And we also had the royal toast with smoked salmon, avocado, and cream cheese. The most interesting was the Blueberry Nights toast with brie cheese, almonds, blueberry jam, coconut, and peanut butter.
Although no one in our family is a professed Harry Potter buff, a couple of us had read all the books and our whole family had watched all the Harry Potter movies at one time or another. So fueled with a hearty breakfast, we met up with Vini, who leads a private Harry Potter walking tour, booked through Get Your Guide. Vini is truly a Harry Potter fan, as evidenced by his Deathly Hallows tattoo on his forearm. As we walked toward Rua de Santa Catarina, Vini would point out details on buildings and the story behind them. The Majestic Cafe was one of the highlights of our tour. It was great that Vini has connections, so the cafe had a table set aside for us. In the J.K. Rowling biography, it states that when she was living in Porto, she spent much of her time at the Majestic Cafe working on the first book, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. The interior was uniquely elaborate, and it was not hard to see the inspiration of the Mirror of Erised as we saw the reflection of the backwards spelled Majestic Cafe in one of the mirrors. Whether it was revealing the beautiful tile mosaics under the building overhang of the Palacio Atlantico, or the intricate mural in its lobby, or strolling through the park, or ending with a quiz in front of the University of Porto, Vini was engaging and personable and filled our tour with smiles and laughter, making it a wonderful experience, even if you don't know a lot of Harry Potter trivia.
We had a really fun time exploring the beautiful city of Porto. We hope that you found some ideas on things to do when planning your first visit to this magical city. Mahalo for tagging along with us, so until next time.
Ate próxima!
And aloha!